All right, so Peter, as someone who is experienced through the Redwood Community Action Agency dealing with homelessness issues, youth issues, the connection of homelessness especially to mental health issues, are you satisfied with how the city, especially public safety police, have been further trained to deal with mental health issues in ways that don't involve use of force?
I think a lot of improvements happened after those shootings. You know, first was it Sherry Moore, and then we had those series of shootings. So the work that happened between mental health and the police is a giant step forward. Yes, I think that's good. I think where we're really suffering as a community is just our general, I guess I'd call it intolerance of the homeless. I think about it, maybe it's because I've been working in it, it's just, there's a stigma and a label attached to homelessness that I don't think is necessarily a true perception. It's a stereotypical thing. And the community needs, the community doesn't need to learn about it, but there needs to be more tolerance about it. It's a problem, not just here, it's a problem nationwide. I mean, homelessness is a national disgrace to this country, in my opinion.
Real quick, Eureka just passed a medical cannabis dispensary ordinance that, at least on paper, looks more liberal than the one in Arcata, at least as far as the number of dispensaries. Do you think that was the right decision, and what do you think the long-term economic, maybe cultural impacts?
That's a good question. Well, let's be upfront. Okay, we're talking about marijuana. There's a ballot in November to legalize it, and I know there's a huge debate as to the impact that's going to cause on our community. I'm no expert on this issue, but I've felt for years that we should legalize. It's interesting, when I first moved to this community in 1970, one of the things I noticed was that marijuana was listed on the Agricultural Commissioner's report. And it was a cash crop, that was recognized, and it was big, and I don't remember the dollar figures, but it has a significant influence in this community. I know there are people that say we should capitalize on that if it is indeed legalized and utilize, essentially our gift for it in the community. But then when you talk about ordinances, there's zoning issues, and I don't know the particulars of the ordinance, but I would favor having dispensaries. And a personal story for me is I lost my mother to brain cancer in 1980. She lived in Michigan, where I grew up, and at the time that she died, there was a law in Michigan where it was allowable to have marijuana dispensed on terminal wards of any hospital in the state. And quite frankly, that was the best thing to aid my mother's suffering, and I was teasing her, because I'm sitting there while she's puffing on a joint going, hey Mom, remember when you thought I was a pothead when I was a teenager? But it was the best thing for her. So I'm not going to get into the argument about, well, there's just a bunch of potheads that want to use these medical marijuana. There is a legitimate use of marijuana for some medical ailments.
I've spoken to some local small businesses who are, on top of the sales tax, really concerned about this no smoking ordinance coming into effect that really, it's almost a blanket prohibition in all public areas. And talking about $100 fines, even additional fines against businesses that facilitate it. I assume that means putting out an ashtrays, facilitating it. Are you concerned that that's really going to impact especially bars, restaurants, cafes, and be one more thing they have to worry about, and one more thing the police have to worry about that distracts them from other more serious crimes?
I don't know. I remember when bars and restaurants were regulated, and they were screaming, oh, we're going to lose our business, but they haven't. At least to the owners that I've talked to. I mean, they're still in business. So based on that, I'd say no, but I don't know how restrictive, I don't know how that's going to pan out. I do know that we can add laws that require enforcement that are just an unnecessary burden on the police, and that could impact us.
And last question, what would you say your assessment is of Chief Garr Nielsen, his 3.5 years leading the force, and in particular the problem-oriented policing program? Do you think that's the sort of thing that more public safety resources should go towards?
I met with the chief a couple weeks ago and was impressed with him. Just as an outsider now, because after I lost the election 4 years ago, I lost my inside connection to the city, but my agency works with the police department a lot, because of the runaway and homeless youth that we serve. And that relationship was positive with the prior chief, and it's as positive now with the chief. What I hear in the community is that there's a far better perception of the police department than there was when I was mayor. So I consider that, yeah, there have been vast improvements in the department. Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Not really.
All right, well, Peter LaVallee, thanks for coming in, and good luck out there on the campaign trail.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate the interview.